Hello and welcome to Off My Shelves, and in this episode we're going to be looking at Sam and Twitch, the deluxe edition Origins hardcover book 1 by Image Comics, written by Brian Michael Bendis, drawn by Angel Medina and Ashley Wood. Does some covers actually. Oh yeah, the other artist is Alberto Ponticelli as well, and there might even be another one in it. But either way, let's take a look. This book really came by surprise, I think. I was watching Marcus Lim's channel, which I've been watching for years now, and he just shared it, and I didn't even realise that this book had come out previous. And I had heard of Sam and Twitch, but I hadn't really explored it at all. And I haven't really explored much of the Spawn universe that they've come from. But this is a deluxe edition published by Image Comics, so it's oversized, book 1 of 2. It is sewn binding, black glossy paper, nice production overall. The only issue is, because the book itself has a lot of double page spreads, and even the panels go through the middle of the page and off to the other side as well. Double page spreads are big in this book, but the binding is quite tight, and so it really doesn't benefit the artwork spreading out that thin, and they really should have kind of sorted out the binding a bit, because it does really mess up some of the artwork. But it didn't destroy my enjoyment of the book at all, but it's certainly the thing that annoyed me most about this. Outside of that, I absolutely loved it. I haven't read much Spawn really, but Sam and Twitch are cops from the Spawn universe. And at the start of this book, Sam and Twitch are running their own detective agency, which has come to an end, and the police are bringing them back in. So the New York police are bringing them back in to come onto the force, and they instantly get given a load of homicides that are just really unsolvable in many ways. The book starts off with Twitch talking to a lady in a bar and retelling what has been happening up to that point. Just because he's kind of so freaked out by it all, he just starts talking to this lady and starts narrating the story from start to end. And so it starts with them going back to the force with a murder in a poker game and just chaos everywhere. I should say the characters of Sam and Twitch are great as well. Sam is just this really overweight, tough, no-nonsense cop who's really straightforwardly intelligent, but who still just enjoys eating and kind of, straightforward things in life. He doesn't like complexity, but he can't deal with it. He is a very good cop. Twitch is skinny, and he is very much the opposite. He is quite an analytical thinker, quite a good investigator and thinker. And so they make a very good partnership, I think. And again, stylistically, they look fabulous. The artwork in this book is really reminiscent of Spawn, and the artists have worked on Spawn and Spider-Man and things like that. But it's got that feel of, I think a lot of people will probably think it looks a lot like Todd McFarlane's work or Greg Capullo's work and things like that. But it's really got a wonderful style. And it spreads and uses the page massively and uses lots of interesting panel layouts. They find out that a lot of different body parts are turning up, and all these body parts like thumbs and ears and stuff like that all have the same DNA. And so they're confused, and none of these body parts relate to the person who are there. So there's instantly a lot of questions. These murders are brutal. There's weird body parts showing up. And so you start off with all of these questions. The opening arc lasts about 8 issues, I think, and it's called Udaku, and they essentially are going through a gang war, really, but it's nowhere near as straightforward as that, and it's really kind of a predecessor, I think, in many ways, of Gotham Central in terms of having quite a gritty cop drama, with all the problems the policing in big cities in America has, but putting that on a backdrop of a place where superheroes and supervillains exist. And so very similar to Gotham Central, but I enjoyed this far more than Gotham Central, to be honest. Gotham Central was great, don't get me wrong, but the characters themselves, the main characters, were so fun and likeable and interesting that you really wanted to follow their story. Like, both of them were really warm, silly, intelligent, funny, and just really good characters, really well made. And it speaks to Brian Michael Bendis' skill, I think, in writing, because he always seems to write characters that I really like and I really want to follow. Miles Morales being one of my favourite one that Brian Michael Bendis put down on paper. And again, I just like some of the characters that he puts out there. As the case of Udako goes forward, more and more deaths happen. There's more and more corruption in the police force. There's more and more problems. And deeper and deeper and deeper it all goes. The action is great. The violence is great. The humour is great. The twists and turns are all great. And again, Sam and Twitch are always on the back foot, but they're always brave and fearless, which you never really expect, weirdly, because it's probably due to, prejudices going in. You see a fat cop that's eating all the time and you don't expect him to run headlong into action, but Sam does. And again, you look at Twitch and think he's quite fragile and frail, but no, he'll get in there. And again, that's really good because they keep you on your toes, these characters. They evolve and change as the storyline goes, and they have tension between themselves in their own relationship as well, and getting back into the police force and all that. But in general, this first 8-part story trying to find who is behind this mysterious name of Udako and trying to discover who is the person murdering or who is the persons murdering all these gangsters around the city and why. Is it a gang war going on? Is it not going on? What's going on? And yeah, it keeps you guessing right till the very end. The action, the cliffhangers at the end of each issue is really good. I enjoyed the first story arc immensely, I'll be honest. It's one of the funnest and most intriguing reads I've had. I really am reading loads of very interesting books at the moment, which I'm super happy with, to be fair. I keep falling in and picking up these books that are really doing it for me and capturing my imagination. And I love a good crime drama and a New York kind of noir thriller. And that's what this is, with all this supernatural backdrop, really, and a superhero backdrop. And Spawn pops in once or twice, and it's super good how he's just so belittled and so just overlooked. Like Sam and Twitch just literally just ignore him. They don't even think of asking for his help or in any way, shape or form. They're just like, who's this guy again? We got work to do. As Udako comes to an end, I think Udako is definitely the bulk of this book and is certainly the strongest one, but it also ends in a way that'll set up future storylines, hopefully, because I'm definitely going to be getting book 2 when the re-release comes out, which I think is next year. Then there's one issue which is really interesting, some lovely artwork. It follows a first-person perspective of a guy at a poker table who makes some bad decisions, and it just basically follows him up until the point that he gets in touch and into contact with Sam and Twitch. And that's just a nice, fun, straightforward issue, really. Nothing mental about this. Spawn pops up a little bit again, but it really is just a fun one issue. Then the final story arc is, I think, 4 issues or 5 issues. And that is all revolving around witchcraft, and it's called Witchcraft. The artist changes again, but that story, again, is really strong. It's not as strong as Udako, but there's nothing wrong with it, really, in the slightest. So essentially, it follows this group of witches that are being murdered, and Wiccans and things like that are, following their beliefs and their religious beliefs, as they put it in this book, and they keep getting murdered for some reason. And so you go through that detective story. Why are these women getting murdered? Who's murdering them? Why is this happening? And again, I think Udako influences your conclusions in this, because a lot of the main antagonists in that story have, unworldly powers, really, otherworldly powers. But this one is a bit more straightforward, but it allows you into thinking that there's much more going on in general. But again, is there or isn't it by the end of it? You can kind of debate it back and forth, really, but it's really strong anyway. And overall, the book in general, I absolutely loved. There was nothing wrong with the art. There was nothing wrong with the story. And again, my only complaint is the binding, that it's way, way, way too tight to open up fully to actually see the full page spreads, and sometimes you miss even dialogue bubbles totally because they're all in that spine in the middle. And yeah, it is a bit of an irritation, but I'm not going to put me off buying book 2 because I enjoyed the story so much. But yeah, that is Sam and Twitch. Thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you on the next one.